20 seconds po. 15. Last 10. 8, 7, 6, 5.
Power supply in Occidental Mindoro stabilizes after over a month of rotational outages. The armed forces is mum on the near collision of Chinese and Philippine vessels. And the 2023 FIBA World Cup draw is set to take place at the Araneta Coliseum later tonight. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Riza Diaz. We begin the newscast with the restoration of 24/7 power supply in Occidental Mindoro. This was confirmed by the National Electrification Administration and the local government in a press conference earlier today. NEA Chief Antonio Almeda said the Occidental Mindoro Consolidated Power Corporation has agreed to run all of its plants. The power plants are now dispatching over 30 megawatts daily, enough to cover the power demand of the entire province. The OMCPC was not able to operate at its full capacity due to lack of budget for fuel amid delayed government subsidies. Meanwhile, the Energy Department assures the public of enough power supply to meet the demand this summer. DOE Undersecretary Wimpy Fontabella admitted, however, that the country's power reserves are thin. With this, the agency is appealing to the public to conserve energy or be more energy efficient. Fontabella advised consumers to limit the temperature of their air conditioners to save power.
Halimbawa, nag-22 ka or nag-18, mas malaki po yung babayaran nyo sa kuryente. Maling diskarte po yon. Ang gawin po natin, 25, 24 degrees, pero tulungan ng electric fan na nakatutok sa atin. 800 to 1,200 per month po matitipid nyo.
In other news, the armed forces refuses to comment on the near collision of Chinese and Philippine vessels in the West Philippine Sea. AFP spokesperson Medel Aguilar said it is better to refer the matter to the National Task Force on West Philippine Sea. The incident happened last week when a Chinese Coast Guard ship blocked a Philippine patrol vessel carrying journalists. The Foreign Affairs Department earlier called on the Chinese government to respect the country's maritime rights in the area. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. If you're still watching One News Now, I'm Riza Diaz. Pag-asa is seeing a higher chance for the El Nino to hit the country within the next 2 months. Annalisa Solis of the Weather Bureau said the possibility of the phenomenon happening is already at 70%. She warned that areas in Visayas and Mindanao would be the first to feel the impact of El Nino.
So anytime po, pwede po tayong mag-upgrade into El Nino alert. Ibig sabihin po, increasing probability of at least 70% na posibleng magkaroon ng El Nino within the next 2 months.
Meanwhile, the government is planning to create an El Nino team within the next 10 days. Alan Tabel of the Interior Department said the team will replace the current El Nino Task Force.
Sa ngayon, ang mga liga ng local government units ay nag-umpisa na rin magtulong para gumawa ng sarili nilang review doon sa resolutions na or ordinances na meron na ang mga local government units at para makatulong din sila dito sa DILG at sa itatatag na Team El Nino kung ano yung mga tamang aksyon na kailangan gawin.
Over 10,000 police personnel will be deployed across Metro Manila for Labor Day on May 1. The National Capital Region Police Office said this is for rallies and possible threats. It vowed, though, that authorities will deal with rallies with maximum tolerance and utmost respect. The NCRPO reminds protesters to first secure a permit to rally, except for demonstrations in freedom parks. The Labor Department earlier said that it would not implement a wage hike on Labor Day. The 2023 FIBA World Cup draw is set to take place at the Smart Araneta Coliseum later tonight. Now here's what you need to know about the event.
"32 teams have qualified to play in the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023. The hosts, Philippines and Japan. 5 teams from Africa, 7 teams from the Americas, 6 teams from Asia and Oceania, 12 teams from Europe. The 32 teams have been distributed into 8 pots of 4, based on the latest FIBA Men's World Ranking presented by Nike, updated after the last game of the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers. Philippines, as group and final phase host, is placed in Pot 1. All other teams are placed in their respective pot in order of ranking. The 8 pots will feed 8 groups of 4 teams each, Group A to Group H. Groups A and B will be playing in Manila, in the Smart Araneta Coliseum. Groups C and D will also play in Manila, in the Mall of Asia Arena. Groups E and F will play in Okinawa, Japan. Finally, Groups G and H will play in the new Indonesia Arena in Jakarta. To balance the quality of the groups across venues in the first and second round and facilitate geographical distribution, pots 1, 3, 5, and 7 will feed groups A, C, E, and G, while pots 2, 4, 6, and 8 will feed groups B, D, F, and H. The following principles will apply to the draw. Geographical distribution, with no more than 1 team from Africa, Americas, Asia, and Oceania in each group, and at least 1 but maximum 2 teams from Europe in each group. In Pot 1, Philippines will be allocated to Group A and will play in the Smart Araneta Coliseum. USA was selected as preferred team by the host Philippines and will be allocated to Group C in the Mall of Asia Arena. In Pot 2, Slovenia was selected as preferred team by the host Japan and will be allocated to Group F in Okinawa. In Pot 3, to balance geographical distribution as per the draw principles, European teams can't be drawn with Spain and Brazil can't be drawn with the USA. In Pot 4, Canada was selected as preferred team by the host Indonesia and will be allocated to Group H in Jakarta. In Pot 5, Dominican Republic can't be drawn with the Americas teams. New Zealand can't be drawn with Australia. Iran can't be drawn with other Asian teams. In Pot 6, Mexico can't be drawn with other Americas teams. Latvia and Georgia can't be drawn in a group with 2 European teams. In Pot 7, Group Phase host Japan will be allocated to Group E in Okinawa. Jordan can't be drawn with other Asian teams. In Pot 8, Lebanon can't be drawn with China. The 5 pre-allocated teams, Philippines, USA, Slovenia, Canada, and Japan, will be placed in their respective group at the start of the draw, prior to all other teams being drawn. Each time a team will be drawn, the draw software will display the available groups. The team will be allocated to the first available group in alphabetical order. After each team is drawn into a group, a competition number between 1 and 4 will also be drawn for that team. This will define the order of games in the respective group in the group phase. The draw is completed when all teams have been drawn in a group and given a group number, and the order of games for the group phase has been determined.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again tomorrow as we monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.